Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this edition of Jim's 5am Club. It's 9 o'clock on a Thursday, and it is an absolute pearler. An absolute pearler of a day. The sun is out, the sky is clear, and it's another magnificent autumn Sydney day. What we'll do is we'll go on a walk and talk, and I want to talk to you about a topic today based on a book summary entitled Executive Presence. Executive Presence, and the author is Sylvia and Hewlett. Sylvia and Hewlett wrote a book on executive presence, but it doesn't necessarily just mean it's a book on executives. It's a book which has material that all of us can incorporate and use in our daily lives in order to be more effective, more efficient, and more commanding, I guess, is one way of looking at it. Because the author reminds us that if you want to achieve leadership, if you want to be top of your game, no person attains a top job, lands an extraordinary deal, or develops a significant following without a heady combination of three things: confidence, poise, and authenticity. So if you want to make it, if you want to make an impact, if you want to stand out, then you basically need to step forward, step up, and learn some of the important techniques that are time-tested and have been around for thousands and thousands of years. And you've probably experienced and seen, you can touch, feel and smell these sorts of things because leaders have them in shovelfuls. So the author here basically tells us that there is a missing link between merit and success, because lots of people have the skills, lots of people have the qualities to make it to the top, but very, very few people get there because, as we said, they're missing that special something, that X factor, which some people talk about. And the author here talks about it as being a thing entitled presence. G'day. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
And what is presence? Let's talk a little bit more about presence so we can understand it a little bit more. Shall I go upstairs or dip around the front? Let me just go around the front. I think it's so pretty down here that I might walk to the end. So presence is that unique, distinguishable quality that you bring into a room, and it's exuded when you just enter it. So I just walk over here, I just walk out onto the International Passenger Terminal, and bang, we have the presence of this most magnificent icon known as the Opera House. So as you can see, it's something which is distinguishable. It has a distinguishable quality which makes it stand out, and regardless of where you are, once you see this Opera House, you know that it is in Sydney, and it's just something which makes an impact. So the bottom line from this author is that your presence is a make or break quality that others look for. So what are the three elements? What are the three things that make up that magic that some people have, which makes them attractive in more ways than one, and gets them the massive followings. And it's called the three elements of a compelling presence commences with a thing called your gravitas. Your gravitas. And the gravitas is basically how you act, how you hold yourself, how others perceive you, and that magic sort of connection that you're able to generate just by your physical presence. It could be your height, it could be your good looks, your athletic build, your hair, your smile. Each person, each leader has something which enables them to stand out and to draw people's attention. The other element of a compelling presence, according to the author, is your communication, how you communicate, how you speak, your voice, your intonation, the words that you choose to use, your energy level. There's a number of things which are used to describe and to reflect your communication, but the way you connect with people, the way you integrate what you're thinking with what they're thinking is another powerful element that draws people to certain leaders, to certain personality types. And the third one here is your appearance. So I mentioned appearance in gravitas, so maybe I shouldn't. So appearance is something else, according to this author here. And it's what you look like. And once again, look, over the years, what I've learnt is that a lot of senior leaders, in terms of their presence, have a thing which comes in spades. They have a sex appeal. I don't know how to describe it without being politically incorrect, but I remember when I've worked in a number of organisations that the top salespeople were also the people who seem to have or oozed sex appeal and their ability to just, as I said, stand out, but also attract people to them because of their looks, the way they dress, the way they groom themselves, the way they smell, and all of those things. So there are three things which enable people to stand out, according to this author. The three elements of a compelling presence, and that's your gravitas, how you act, and that could also be cultural. There are certain cultures, I think, which have a powerful gravitas in terms of how people stand, how they stand out, how they look, how they the posture that they keep, you name it. But when you see the Opera House and when you see the commanding image of the Harbour Bridge, you can understand that these architectural examples are ones which have gravitas, because you look at them and they just stand out, stand up, and just capture your heart. So let's talk a little bit more about each of those elements according to what the author said in their book. And once again, a little bit more on gravitas. And gravitas is the ability to exude confidence, integrity, and calmness under pressure. And I think we all understand and we can all really relate to it. But when you see somebody who is confident, and I want to harp on this because it's really, really important. Now, I find confident women sexy. And that's what drew me to my wife, Paula. The first thing of all was her confidence. So as the author says, that we need to work on our confidence, even if it means faking it. Because confidence is something that people seek and people want, and it's an energy, and it's a capability that brings things to the table which add value to other people's lives. So the ability to act calm under pressure is also something that they talk about here. And what the author here is saying is, and this is a really, really important point, because we have a lot of bullshit artists and people in our lives who pretend to be to have gravitas, but it's only in times of crisis. It's only in time of immense crisis where you're able to test somebody's gravitas. For example, you get all these guys in a lift, and the lift all of a sudden stops, and then you'll have these big, tough, macho sort of guys blubbering like little children and crying to get out of there because they're scared. So presence is all about finding the sweet spot between being compassionate and being able to make the tough decisions. So we need to be confident, we need to be compassionate, but we also need to make tough decisions and live by the consequences of those decisions. So we've got to be able to own the tough choices that we make in life, communicate with confidence, as we said before, and it's really, really important, and it's really, really powerful to be able to clearly tell people around you what you did and why you did it. Because owning up and saying, this is what I did and this is why I did it, will gain you a lot of respect from your peers, your family, and the people around you. So let's go on and talk a little bit more about communication. And good communication is about how, much more than the what. And the important thing for us all to understand is that we've got a 5-second slot. When we first meet somebody, when we first engage somebody, regardless of whether or not we know them, it's in those first 5 seconds that they decide on whether or not you're going to impact them in a positive way, or they're just going to ignore you. So your confidence, your gravitas, and all of those things are really, really important at every time you engage people. So don't think that because you've convinced somebody once or you've gained their respect once, you're always going to hold it. The author is telling us that each time we touch somebody in our lives, we need to impress them and make them want to listen to us and want to believe us. So it's important to be able to share insights through stories. People love stories. So if you want to learn something in life, and the thing that I've learnt with Jim's 5am Club is the power of saying stories and to communicate stories, because people love hearing stories. So communicate through stories wherever you can, and try and avoid abstract ideas, is what the author is suggesting here in their books. And the last point is, we harped on before, was the physical appearance, because it is important. If it wasn't for physical appearance, then I probably would never have noticed my wife in the first place and wanted to get to know her. Regardless of what people say, the first thing that captures your mind and captures your heart is appearance. So the lesson for each and every one of us is that we need to constantly work on our appearance. And if you give up on your appearance, then you're putting yourself under pressure. So focus as best you can on your appearance. And my mother always used to say, there's no such thing as an ugly woman, but there are unkept women, in terms of women who don't focus on their appearance and don't try and make the most of the assets that they've got available to them. And that also applies to men. So The lesson, of course, is to try and be well groomed as often as possible, maintain hygiene, try and dress appropriately to the function that you're attending, and do your best. Do your best to try and always present your best appearance, because appearance is something that should emphasize our competence and what we're good at. I'm not talking about looking tarty or looking like you're a pimp with the way you dress, but to dress appropriately for the situation. And from a career perspective, your dress, your attire should try and reflect your professional competence. Very, very important. I get a little bit annoyed when I see people walking around these days, going into their offices, wearing suits, white shirts, and no ties. It just looks incomplete to me. I know I'm old school, but a tie is a beautiful accompaniment and a completion to a man's suit, and it can express their personality and also help people identify with their professional competence. Anyway, let's finish up with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable. And I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, showcasing the beauties of this magnificent city of ours, Sydney, during the most magnificent season of the year, autumn. And as you can see, today is a perler, an absolute cracker of a day. So I look forward to doing another walk and talk where we can share some stories, share some experiences, become partners in each other's growth and development, where we can be the wind beneath our wings, the wave beneath our boards, the zephyr that bellows and pumps out our sails and flutters our flags, and the powerful turbines, the propellers that maneuver and propel our craft in the direction that we desire. So there we go. I'll leave it there. Yassas, and I'll come again to you at lunchtime with another opportunity to see where it leads us. Yassas, take care, and happy Thursday to everybody. Ke Christos Anesti, to all my Greek Orthodox and Eastern Orthodox Christians, and to my Muslim family and friends and brothers that I work with. Happy Eid for today, and because it's the end of Ramadan. I think yesterday Ramadan ended for them, for their celebration, and happy Eid to all of them as well. Take care, and bye for now.